Most Americans are heading toward a retirement crisis. For decades, retirement meant security after hard work, a promise of golden years, but that promise is broken. In this video, we're breaking down exactly how retirement changed in America, from family farms, to pensions, to 401ks, and why so many people are now completely unprepared. Remember to like and subscribe for more Money Smart Basics videos. If you have any suggestions for financial literacy topics, please leave a comment. Stay until the end to receive a bonus tip. The system is fractured and uncertainty rules. People now work longer, save less, and fear outliving their savings. How did we get here? To protect your future, we must first understand how the old promise fell apart. Let's uncover the history of retirement in America. Retirement wasn't always about savings or Social Security. In early America, your children were your retirement plan. Large families worked the land together, ensuring care for aging parents. But industrialization changed everything. People left farms for city jobs, and family support systems dissolved. Suddenly, older generations found themselves without a safety net. This shift ended the family-based model and forced society to seek new solutions. Corporations soon stepped in with a new promise of security. Before pensions or Social Security, retirement was a family affair. Children were the safety net, providing labor, care, and continuity on the farm. As parents aged, roles shifted naturally. The younger generation took over, and elders guided. Security meant interdependence, not financial independence. This system thrived on family unity and shared responsibility, but it depended on everyone staying close and committed to the land. Early American wealth was measured in hands, not dollars. The more family members, the more secure the farm, and the future. Families rarely moved far. The farm was the center of life and support. Each farm was self-sufficient, minimizing reliance on outside help. But this model was fragile, relying on a static agrarian lifestyle. It couldn't survive when ambition and opportunity pulled children away. The Industrial Revolution shattered the old way of life. Factories offered wages and independence, drawing young people to cities. Large families became a burden, not an asset, and the generational contract unraveled. Aging parents lost their retirement plan as children left the farm. For the first time, many elders faced old age without support. America's first retirement crisis was born. Progress had created a new problem. The question became, if family couldn't provide security, what would? As family farms faded, corporations rose, needing loyal workers for the new industrial age. To keep employees, companies introduced the defined benefit pension plan, a new promise from employer to worker. Stay loyal, work for decades, and the company would guarantee security in old age. This shifted retirement security from family to corporation, reshaping the American dream. The post-World War II era through the 1970s was the golden age of American retirement. Defined benefit pensions gave workers security and peace of mind. You worked for a company like GM or IBM, stayed loyal, and retired with a guaranteed income for life. Each month your check arrived, no matter what the market did. Retirement was a reward, not a gamble. Security, dignity, and community defined this golden era. The pension era seemed golden, but hidden risks loomed. The system relied on companies staying strong forever. If they failed, so did your retirement. As industries changed, these promises crumbled, leaving workers vulnerable and tied to one employer. The golden age of guaranteed pensions faded, setting the stage for a new, uncertain retirement future. The end of the pension era began with a small tax code change. Section 401k, meant as a loophole for executives to defer taxes, but consultant Ted Benna saw its potential for all workers. Soon, 401ks replaced pensions, not by grand design, but as an accident of legislation, transforming retirement for millions. The rapid adoption of the 401k marked the single most important change in the history of American retirement. It was a fundamental philosophical shift in who is responsible for an individual's financial future. The pension system was built on a collective promise, a we proposition. We, the company, guarantee your retirement security in exchange for your loyal service. We manage the investments. We absorb the market risks. We ensure your check arrives every month, no matter what. This was a system of shared responsibility, where the powerful institution provided a safety net for the individual. The 401k completely inverted this relationship, turning it into a U proposition. With the 401k, the promise disappeared. It was replaced with an opportunity and a challenge. Suddenly, you, the employee, were in the driver's seat of your own retirement. You were responsible for deciding how much to save from each paycheck. You had to choose your own investments from a menu of complex mutual funds. You had to monitor your portfolio's performance and make adjustments. You had to bear the full force of stock market crashes, and you alone would reap the rewards of market booms. All the risk that was once shouldered by the corporation was now transferred directly onto your shoulders. The era of self-service retirement had begun. This was the biggest financial experiment ever conducted in the United States, and the subjects of the experiment were everyday American workers. For corporations, the benefits were immediate and enormous. They were no longer on the hook for massive, unpredictable, long-term liabilities. Their financial commitment was now limited to a defined contribution, often a small percentage match of the employee's savings. This made their balance sheets look healthier, and their profits higher. They successfully offloaded decades of risk and responsibility, framing it as a move toward employee empowerment and choice. They gave workers control, but without the necessary tools or training to succeed. The old system was simply work hard, be loyal, and your retirement was taken care of. The new system was infinitely more complex. It demanded that every factory worker, every teacher, and every office administrator become a savvy, part-time money manager. It required discipline to save consistently, foresight to choose the right investments, and emotional fortitude to stay the course during volatile market swings. The promise of a guaranteed lifetime check was gone. In its place was a question mark, a retirement balance that could fluctuate wildly from one year to the next, entirely dependent on your own decisions and the whims of the market. On the surface, the 401k was marketed as a wonderful new world of freedom and control. No longer were you tethered to one company for life. Your retirement savings were now portable, moving with you from job to job. You were given a menu of investment choices, supposedly allowing you to tailor your portfolio to your personal risk tolerance. It was presented as a significant upgrade from the rigid, one-size-fits-all pension plan. Companies, celebrated this new era of employee empowerment. But for the vast majority of Americans, this newfound freedom was, an illusion. It was the illusion of choice, without the knowledge required to make a good one. The reality was that millions of workers were thrown into the deep end of Wall Street without a single swimming lesson. The average person had never been taught the difference between a stock and a bond, let alone how to analyze the expense ratios and investment strategies of a dozen different mutual funds. They were handed complex prospectuses filled with financial jargon and told to build a diversified portfolio that would last them 30 years. It was like giving someone the keys to an airplane cockpit and expecting them to know how to fly it safely through a storm just because all the buttons and levers were there. This lack of financial literacy was not the fault of the individual worker. The American education system has never prioritized practical financial education. For generations, people didn't need to be investment experts because the pension system handled it for them. Suddenly, the rules changed, and an entire population was expected to master concepts like asset allocation, compound interest, rebalancing, and risk management. People were forced to make incredibly high-stakes decisions about their life savings with little more than a brochure from their HR department and a gut feeling. The system was designed by financial experts, but it had to be operated by amateurs. This created a perfect storm for costly mistakes. Without proper guidance, many people were paralyzed by the number of choices and simply left their money in low-yield cash accounts, missing out on decades of potential growth. Others, chasing past performance, would pile into whatever fund had done well the previous year, effectively buying high. Many didn't understand the concept of a company match, leaving free money on the table that could have supercharged their savings. The choice offered by the 401k was not true freedom. It was a burden, a heavy responsibility placed on a population that was systematically unprepared to handle it. The nationwide rollout of the 401k effectively turned the American workforce into participants in a massive, uncontrolled financial experiment. The hypothesis was simple. Can ordinary people with no financial training successfully manage their own investments and save enough to fund their retirement? For nearly 4 decades, we have been living through this experiment, and the results are now coming in. For millions of baby boomers now reaching retirement age, the conclusion is clear and, honestly, pretty troubling. The experiment, for a huge portion of the population, has been a failure. The promise of a secure retirement funded by individual investment prowess has not materialized for the masses. The reasons for this failure are multifaceted, but they all stem from the fundamental flaw in the system's design. It presumed a level of financial knowledge, behavioral discipline, and consistent engagement that the average person simply does not possess. People were expected to act like rational economic machines, but instead, they acted like human beings. They were driven by emotion. When the market soared during the dot-com bubble, they poured money in at the top, driven by greed and the fear of missing out. When the market crashed in 2008, they panicked and sold at the bottom, locking in devastating losses, driven by pure fear. Beyond emotional investing, a host of other issues plagued the average 401k saver. Many workers, squeezed by rising living costs and stagnant wages, simply couldn't afford to save enough. They failed to increase their contribution rates as their salaries grew. They took out loans or hardship withdrawals from their 401k to cover emergencies, permanently damaging their long-term compounding. They paid excessively high fees on actively managed mutual funds that underperformed cheaper index funds. Each of these small mistakes, compounded over a 30 or 40-year career, created a massive shortfall by the time retirement arrived. This wasn't because people were lazy or foolish. It was because the system demanded a level of perfection that was almost impossible to achieve without professional guidance. The 401k model shifted all the responsibility to the worker, but provided none of the support. It replaced the institutional safety net of the pension with a do-it-yourself kit that came with no instructions. We are now witnessing the consequences of this grand experiment, as a generation of Americans stands at the doorstep of retirement, looking at their 401k statements and realizing with a sense of dread that it is not nearly enough. The 401k system failed millions because they were never taught how to use it. Designed by professionals, handed to the unprepared, it left people flying blind, making life-altering decisions with little knowledge. The shift to do-it-yourself retirement was like yanking away a safety net, expecting people to suddenly learn how to fly. The rise of the 401k came at the worst possible time, as Gen X and late boomers faced a series of devastating market crashes. Each crash shattered nest eggs, from the dot-com bust to the 2008 crisis and the 2020 pandemic drop. The 401k was tested in a financial hurricane, leaving many near retirement with tragic results. The 401k system assumes people can save for decades, but for most, wages have barely budged since the 1980s, while costs for housing, healthcare, and college have soared. After paying the bills, there's little left to save, making the dream of retirement feel out of reach for millions. In 2024, the stock market looks strong, but much of this growth is fueled by government stimulus, corporate buybacks, and hype around tech and AI. Underneath, the market's foundation is shaky, propped up by artificial means, not real economic strength. When this bubble bursts, it could devastate those counting on a stable future. Millions of baby boomers are retiring, shifting from saving to depending on their 401ks. Right as markets look risky, retiring into a potential bubble, they face the perilous knife's edge. A crash now could devastate their savings, leaving little time to recover. The system has left them dangerously exposed. The story of American retirement is a story of broken promises. The old safety nets are gone, and your financial security is now your responsibility. The first step is to acknowledge this new reality, fully and without illusion. While the system may be flawed, you are not powerless. Take control and become the architect of your own retirement. Take control of your financial education. The 401k system failed many because people never learned the rules. Commit to learning the language of money, read trusted books, listen to podcasts, and watch explainer videos. This knowledge is your essential toolkit. Financial education transforms you from a fearful amateur into a confident investor. The power to control your money is within your reach. Grasp it. The old three-legged stool of retirement, pension, social security, and savings is broken. You must build your own safety net. Don't rely on just one income or asset. Diversify with stocks, bonds, real estate, and side income streams. Even 1 or 2 extra income streams can buffer job loss and speed up your path to financial independence. The time to start is now. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. With that, you are ahead of 90% of most people in America. Here is the bonus tip that we promised. Don't let a rising stock market fool you. Always study why it's rising, not just that it's rising. Real retirement safety comes from diversification, cash flow, and education. The information provided in this content is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered financial, legal, or tax advice. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor, tax professional, or legal counsel before making any financial decisions. The creator of this content is not responsible for any actions taken based on the information provided. Investments and financial decisions carry risk, and past performance does not guarantee future results.